Hey, I'm back guys with another video. If you noticed that I wasn't here last week, I had so much going on. I had a very productive 2 weeks, but I thought I'd come back today just to give you guys another video. If you can hear my voice, I've got a bit of a cold, so I might sound a bit stuffy, but we move. Like, that wasn't going to stop me from doing today's video. But thank you for all the love, my new subscribers, all the comments and feedback that you've all been giving me. I'm so grateful, guys. Thank you. So in today's video, I have another buzzword. Today's video, I'll be delving into depression versus low mood versus suicidality. So, suicidal thoughts. And people use these words interchangeably and sometimes don't know the difference between them. So I thought I'll just bring a video just to touch on some of the differences and similarities between the three of them. And so I'll probably start off with depression, clinical depression. I mean, there are certain disorders out there that differentiate them from each other, but I'm just going to speak about the general clinical depression. And I'm sure it's a word that you've used before, like, you know, I feel depressed or I feel low, for example. So depression, what is it? So depression is a chemical imbalance in the brain. So all the chemicals that deal with your mood and your hormones around regulating your mood, if there's a chemical imbalance there in your brain, you know, there's over a million chemicals, even up to 1 billion chemicals that deal with your mood, and there are different chemicals inside and outside the nerve cells. So yes, it's an imbalance. It's not necessarily just about there being a low imbalance or a high imbalance. It's a lot more complex than that, and I'm probably not the best person to delve into that fully. I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a neuroscientist or neurologist. So maybe one day I'll get someone on here that can specialize on how the brain works and how the brain functions, because we can see these things in the brain, and it will be really helpful if someone could really speak on that properly. So yes, so when there's a chemical imbalance in the brain that deals with your mood, then that's one of the symptoms of depression. And so depression is actually a combination of very low mood over a long, consistent time. So a long, like weeks. So periods of feeling very low. Now, what I'm about to say is, you know, you have not probably never realized before, but the reason why it's described as low mood is it's somewhat also a disability or an inability to actually feel. So though it's presented as low mood, it's actually the person is unable to actually feel. So it's actually a feeling of numbness and low mood. So low mood can consist of like unhappiness, sadness. At least if you can say you're feeling, if I can say I'm feeling sad, or if I can say I'm feeling low, at least I can still feel. But someone with clinical depression, you know, struggles to actually feel. So that's the difference. And because they struggle to feel and they feel numb, there's that somewhat like a flat appearance on their face that you may just assume is low mood, but actually it's an inability to actually feel low mood as well. So you have the inability to feel, so a numbness, and low mood, feeling sad or unhappy, feeling consistently tearful, feeling consistently hopeless, and then anhedonia. Anhedonia is that loss of pleasure to do the things and to enjoy the things that you were used to enjoying. So if you can think of all the hobbies and things that you enjoy, that bring you happiness, that makes you smile, that releases those lovely endorphins that we crave. If you suddenly have a feeling of displeasure or somewhat an avoidant nature to the things that you used to enjoy, that's also a symptom of depression. So a combination of all those three things, so numbness, consistent low mood, and anhedonia, Those are all major symptoms of depression. And so, you know, also physical symptoms as well, a loss of appetite of food, disturbance in your sleep, perhaps oversleeping or not having much sleep at all, a loss of sex drive as well. There's you know, there's tiredness, and then also perhaps like aches and body, you know, aches in your body. These are also all physical symptoms of depression. And then of course we have low mood. Now low mood, everyone experiences low mood at some point. Oh gosh, the ice cream van. Let's enjoy it because it's going to disturb us. Low mood. There are so many things that can cause us low mood, and like I've said, at some point in your life and in my life, I've experienced low mood. Oh gosh, I can give you so many reasons why I feel low mood. Maybe you're not meeting your targets at work, you're not meeting your targets in your productivity, even in your day. You're not feeling productive, you're not meeting your goals for the day. Maybe you set out a plan to do something and you're not meeting it. Disappointment, hurt, betrayal, trauma, stressful life events. These are all things that can cause us low mood. But again, if it's over a long period of time, so weeks, then it's something that you should bring up to someone. You know, it's something that you should bring up to someone and not keep quiet about, because there may be more there to discover and unpack. And of course, we know with clinical depression, or, you know, struggle with low mood, the interventions and treatments for there, of course, is talking therapy. So Dramatherapy, we work with people that have depression and struggle with low mood and or anxiety. And I'll link my video to that. And where was I going with this? I was saying something. Yes, the treatments, yes. And of course we have medicine. So people that have these symptoms usually go to see their GP. Their GP will obviously recommend what's out there. But talking therapy is a very, 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 very good treatment for symptoms and diagnoses like depression, alongside medication if needed. Some people don't need medication. Some people will have medication and being on it for a set period of time and then eventually wean off it. But talking therapy is definitely something to go for first, just to see if it's something you can treat without having to take medication, because we know having to take medication can it's an added responsibility. And then of course we have suicidal ideation. Suicidal ideation, wow, a very sensitive topic. And I really urge you, if you're watching this and you have suicidal ideas, I really urge you to tell someone. Tell someone you can trust. Tell your GP, most importantly. And if there's no one, if you don't have a support network, or if you don't have friends, please message me. You can message me on Instagram so that it's private. Maybe you don't want to message on YouTube. But if it's something that you're struggling with, please tell someone. Please tell someone, because having to deal with those thoughts on your own is a very, very scary place to be. I've personally never had suicidal thoughts, but I definitely had low points in my life. And that's why I wanted to talk about the differences, because someone can be very low and not have suicidal thoughts. Someone can be clinically depressed and not have suicidal thoughts. Yes, people may have dual diagnoses, but it doesn't mean that they necessarily cross over. That's an assumption. So suicidal thoughts is actively having thoughts to take your life. Someone with psychosis may have internal or external voices that are not theirs telling them to end their life. And for a lot of people, they have suicidal thoughts that actually are, they say are their thoughts, or thoughts that have been put in their head. So it's, you know, it's very tricky. For each person, they will deal with it differently. But what I wanted to mention is some people may say that they don't want to be here anymore. And when I say here, they don't want to be on the earth anymore. They don't want to be in the world anymore. That person may not necessarily be suicidal. The difference is someone that's suicidal literally they have a plan. or they're looking at plans to end their life. And so the person that says they don't want to be here anymore, perhaps that person believes in the afterlife. For example, I believe in heaven, so yes, I would probably choose heaven over earth. But I'm happy with my life at the moment. I'm grateful, and so it's not that I have thoughts that I don't want to be here anymore. I've never had those thoughts before. But someone can have suicidal thoughts and not be depressed. Someone can have suicidal thoughts and actually not feel low. So do you see how it's all different, and it's really good to address the person individually and not come with different assumptions, because their presentation will be different from A will be different to B will be different to C. But most importantly is tell someone. No one wakes up in the morning and asks to have suicidal thoughts. It's not something you go out to look for. Most people that have suicidal thoughts have in their mind, have tried everything else out. They still see no hope for their life. They don't see, they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and the next option for them is to end it. And so let's remember to be kind. Let's remember to be kind, because we don't know what is going through people's heads. And if you remember from previous videos, we will never know what's in someone's head. We can guess, we can make assumptions, but we will never know. So the best thing to do is to treat people with decency and respect. So yeah, so symptoms of depression, low mood and suicidal ideation will affect people on a daily basis. So it's frequent and it's consistent. If it's fleeting, if you're having fleeting moments of low mood or fleeting moments of not wanting to do the things you used to do, that might just be maybe you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. So it's at a long period of time, and of course some may be mild, some may be moderate, and some will be very severe. But again, a doctor would do a mental health assessment with you to actually see where you're at. Causes of depression, like I said, stressful life events. People have had stressful life events that have had a toll on their brain and how their brain operates. So our body has been designed to, we've been born to be joyful, to be happy. The body experiences trauma, whether mentally, emotionally, financially, physically. If there's been some sort of trauma on your body and the normal function of how it should operate, then yes, depression can definitely creep in. Long periods of low mood can definitely creep in. And then suicidal ideation can be something that can creep in as well. But it's really important to know your personality as well. Some people are more prone to depression because maybe it's in their genealogy, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert or an ambivert. Depending on your personality, some people are more prone to feeling low. When I look at myself, I see myself as someone that is, well, my personality seems like someone that is prone to being low, but I don't stay in that place. I recognize I've recognized periods of my life when that has happened, but I don't stay there for long. But I can sense and perceive that my personality is someone that is prone to that. But I don't receive it, I don't accept it, it's not for me. But again, it's not something that someone asks for. So if someone is struggling with depression, or if someone is struggling with low mood or suicidal ideation, it's not because they're weak, right? It's an illness just like anything else. Currently, I'm battling with a cold. That's why I keep sniffing. I'm battling with a cold. I didn't ask for a cold. I didn't get a cold because I'm weak. I didn't get a cold because I asked for it. But I was out. I went to a fun fair. Maybe I could have kept warmer. I was around people that may have had a cold. Yes, maybe I caught it off someone. Do you see what I mean? But it's not something that I asked for. So let's be very, 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 very sensitive So like I said, family history. And you know, a very big one, another cause of depression, of course, is women that have, you know, childbirth, women that have given birth. Gosh, the process of giving birth, I would describe it as life and, you know, life or death. I have 2 girls, and I can confidently say that it's a miracle. Childbirth is a miracle. So the process of which you go through delivering a child, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, look at what it does to your body. And so the body needs some time to recuperate and to get back to its normal functioning. So for some women, while the chemicals in their brain are trying to figure out themselves, I'm talking as if chemicals are people, but while the chemicals are trying to get back to their normal functioning, for some ladies, they have postnatal depression. But it's temporary. It's not something that's long lasting, unless of course they had depression before they had their child. But these are some of the causes. And so that is the difference between depression, low mood, and suicidality. I always say that word wrong. Depression, low mood, and suicidal ideation. I think I prefer to say that. That's the difference. Depression is a combination of numbness and or low mood and anhedonia. Low mood is of course on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, very sad, 10 being the happiest, ecstatic, excited. So the person would be at a 0 or 1. And suicidal ideation, these are all different presentations and they are treated differently. So let's be kind, let's be sensitive. In my next video, I'm going to talk about some tips to brighten up your mood if you fall into that low mood range. My next video, I will be giving out some handful tips, things that have helped me, things that I've used with some of my clients, and it's called the 3 A's. I will make sure to put the author of where I got this information from. It's very, very handy, very, very helpful. So I look forward to the next video. I'll be back next week. So guys, leave me a comment, let me know your thoughts, like, subscribe, share this with someone that it will help. And finally, just to end, I like to end with what I call a kingdom principle, and it is, there is a way that seems right to a man but leads to destruction. So I leave that with you. You can interpret that how it best suits you. But when you think about your life and your current life now and the things that you're going through, what is the best choice that you can make today? What seems right but actually isn't right? What seems wrong but actually isn't wrong? I'll leave that with you to ponder on. Well, thank you guys, and I'll see you next week.